everyone. And for the third season of the SheProp Presents panel series, we are taking a moment to introduce you to our fantastic panelists. And this episode happens to be about our founding members. So everybody, meet Eliza. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Eliza from Eldritch Arts. I'm in Western Massachusetts, USA, and I'm a founding member and current admin.
How long have you been cosplaying?
So I have been cosplaying since 2012, so 9 years. But I was making costumes before that in 2005, because at heart, I am a Ren Fair girl, basically. That's what really, going to the Renaissance fairs really got me into costuming, and seeing all the cool medieval and historical costumes is what really drew me to it. So I've been doing that, for making costumes for myself and some of my friends at the Ren fairs for 15 years. So that kind of, in the last 9 years, morphed into cosplay once I learned about it. I didn't know what it was. But yeah, basically, I just like the historical and fantasy costumes. I'm not so good at keeping straight to historical stuff. I like inspired by type of things. So that kind of drew me to Loki when the Avengers came out. And so that was in 2012. That's when it all began. And so I started making the Loki costume for myself. I learned a lot of techniques from the RPF. So that was pretty awesome to find a forum like that long before SheProp was around. But yeah, so then I started making Loki armor and stuff. And since I made molds and stuff, I had extras. So I went to sell them, and I made an Etsy site and I started selling them. And then a couple of years later, I was able to turn it into my full-time business. So it started with Loki stuff, and then it's gone on to bigger and crazier costumes from a lot of Marvel, basically, and then on to just other fantasy stuff and a lot of film and TV characters that I do for people. I think I'm probably known for crazy details on the costumes. I get a bit obsessive about getting the details and the screen accuracy right, and some people are into that kind of thing, so they hire me for that.
Now, how has becoming a professional cosplayer affected your cosplay experience?
It's interesting, especially being in SheProp. I feel it's a weird feeling, because technically I am a professional, but then there's the imposter syndrome where I'm no one ever taught me how to do this. I took one class in college on how to make a corset. So I'm okay, that's my only real experience. So I'm I know how to do this properly, but everything else I do, I kind of just messed around and figured it out myself, or once in a while I found some things online to learn how to do it. So I'm I know how to do a lot of stuff, but I feel I probably do it weird. So I'm kind of I want to give advice, but also I'm afraid if I tell people to do stuff weird, they're gonna be where did you learn that? But it's fun, seeing, interacting with other people and learning different ways of doing stuff, and just constantly upping my game. Basically, every new project I do, I get more experience, and I try to use all different kinds of materials in things. So I started off with just cloth, making corsets, and then faux leather, and then real leather, and tooling leather, and Warbla, and thermoplastics, and resin, and all kinds of stuff. So I like learning different ways and different things to do. So continual learning.
Well, as an aside, the moment I cashed that $50 check for appearing in a costume at a kid's birthday party, I called myself a professional cosplayer. So I think you need to stop putting air quotes around technically.
Nice.
Knock that off. You are a professional cosplayer. So now that SheProp is around, how has that changed your experience online?
It's great. Starting off, I owe a lot to the RPF for learning techniques that got me started, but honestly, that was the actual forum, and which a lot of people posted on the website and like would post their WIPs and all these photos and things and techniques, and it was great. But nowadays people mostly interact through Facebook, it feels like, and the Facebook RPF is just gotten overloaded with insanity in the last few years. So it was kind of a bummer for that to happen and go from like a really useful thing to something you don't know whether you want to participate anymore. So having SheProp around is great because I have no like qualms about posting anything or having a discussion with anyone about anything. And it's just, you just dive right in, and people are so helpful and like accepting of whatever weird stuff you're doing. And it's just great to have around. It's so much nicer, calmer, less stressful, more helpful than other places on the internet. So.
And do you have a favorite thing about SheProp that you'd like to share?
I guess it's kind of what I said, but it's pretty much like the solidarity, like with everyone in SheProp. It's like you can post your fails as you're trying to make something, and people have been there and they're like, that's fine, don't worry about it, I've done the same thing. And then you can post your wins when you finish a project or when you get a technique down, and other people are like, yeah, it's like really supportive and everyone's like got your back pretty much. It's a great team kind of feeling.
Well, thank you for talking with me today, Eliza, and we cannot wait for you to be a part of our SheProp Founders panel. And everybody, don't forget to tune in to the SheProp Founders panel. Eliza will be there as well as some other founding members, and we cannot wait to have you experience this with us. So thank you, Eliza, and thank you all.